Okay, Crystal, can we have a roll call, please?
Kim Cropper.
Here.
April Fabella.
Here.
Ronnie Maines.
Here.
Bob Perry.
Here.
Rick Skinner.
Here.
And Jenna Smith.
Here.
Okay, seeming we have a quorum, call the meeting of January 5th, 2026 meeting to order. Welcome, everyone, guests. If you have not signed in as you weigh in, on your way in, please do so. And we will stand, have the invocation by Councilman Cropper, then pledge allegiance.
Shall we pray? Our Father in heaven, thank you for the day you blessed us with, another day of life, and just watching over each and every one of us here, and a beautiful day that it was for winter. Thank you for just being here tonight, that we can conduct the city's business, that we can do it in honor and respect to our citizens, and just be with our nation and our country, that we can all collectively move forward together in a respectable way for each and every person and others. Forgive us for sins and forgive us where we fail. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, a couple quick announcements. We have new software coming into the clerk's office, which should make life easier for the clerks and for the residents, correct? Hopefully. That being said, on January 8th, the clerk's office will close at 1 p.m. so the staff can have training. And then on the 27th and 28th, the clerk's office will be closed for both those days for the upgrade installation. So we have notices out already, I believe, and we will continue to do that. Just also an FYI, if you recall, we have canceled the second meetings of December of last year, January and February this year. So our next regular council meeting will be on February 2nd at 6 p.m. Mayor's update. So we are halfway through the fiscal year, and I'm going to give a little more detail on my mayor's update tonight for the council, just to give you where we're at in some of the financial areas, one or two concerns, and just a couple other items that I've attended in places, and information I'd like you to know. Feel free to stop me or ask a question, because it's a little lengthy, so I apologize for that in advance. But I thought we'd be a nice, thorough update. This mayor's update is provided to keep City Council fully informed of the city's financial condition, departmental operations, and key policy matters. It reflects both current status and forward-looking priorities that require council engagement. First thing I'll talk about is the annual audit. Council members may be inquiring why we have not done the annual audit yet from 24-25. That's because we have still, and hopefully almost completed all the information that we inherited from last year. Until we put everything in place and get the numbers up to date, that we could not do an audit. But I think we're just about ready, and we should be having that audit in February. If we do not get that audit done by February, the state will withhold our municipal aid, road aid from us. So we're really pushing up against the timeline, but Crystal feels pretty confident she'll have that done. And it's not on Crystal, don't get me wrong. It was the mess that was inherited. On the Tuesday before Christmas, Judge Executive Chuck Dills, called a caucus meeting of the fiscal court. And basically it was to address the Grant County Industrial Development Authority, also known as the IDA. The IDA was originally established in 1993 to assist with economic development efforts across Grant County. Under the June 1993 interlocal agreement, participating cities are required to make annual contributions. Williamstown current required contribution is $31,083.86. And I just wanted to give the council an update of what was discussed at this meeting and where I was coming from at the meeting. During the meeting, I questioned what the IDA is currently doing to actively enhance business recruitment and economic opportunities for Williamstown in today's environment. I stated that the IDA may have run its course in its current form as Williamstown's economic development needs in 2026 differ substantially from those present when the organization was formed. I further expressed that the IDA should undertake a formal review to determine whether its mission remains relevant, whether its structure should be updated, or whether dissolution should be considered if it no longer provides tangible value to the participating jurisdictions. So, all that being said, discussion followed regarding the need to update the county comprehensive plan. And a lot of us thought that as a, updated modernization plan could help clarify the economic development priorities and better inform the IDA's future direction. I believe that what was needed in 1993 or through the 90s or early 2000s, it's for Williamstown is much different than what is needed today. And for, $31,000, my question to the IDA was, what's our ROI on it? Like any business should be asking. And I'm not saying to dissolve it. What I am saying, I think the IDA needs to take a look at its mission, and update it and perhaps go a different route economically for the economic benefit. My feeling for the city of Williamstown is, we have places like the Arc, and we should be building infrastructure based on that, whether it's restaurants, hotels, and infrastructure that supports those things, short-term rentals. So that was on the 23rd. I'm sure there's more discussion coming, and I'll keep the council informed on that. The Northern Kentucky University, NKU, has provided written notice to me that it will vacate the former City Hall buildings effective February 28, 2026, the building that they currently lease. The city is actively pursuing future use of the building, and two potential entities have expressed interest in leasing the space. NKU leased the building for $1 per year from the city, while the city remained responsible for all exterior repairs and maintenance. Over the past 3 years alone, the city has invested well over $100,000 in maintenance and improvements. And you may or may not know, NKU also subleased some space within the building to Gateway College for the GED programming, and they paid $5,000 a year annually to NKU. So while NKU was paying $1 a year, they were getting in $5,000. So I thought that was interesting. A little bit about budget tracking. Legal fees are currently tracking over budget. You may have noticed that in your packet this week. This variance is explainable by several factors tied to inherited financial issues and necessary corrective work. The forensic audit remains ongoing, with documentation recently submitted to the Commonwealth Attorney. The city settled the MGPI lawsuit, which in itself had been costing approximately $100,000 a year to the city of Williamstown in legal fees. The city is also facing additional unanticipated legal actions involving the former mayor that continue to incur costs. The immediate former mayor, not the past former mayor. The city also contracted with McBrayer Law Firm to update policy procedures, employee pay grades, and ranges, which we'll discuss tonight, many of which had not been updated since the mid-1990s. This approach was completed more quickly and at a lower overall cost than using KLC, which we originally were going to do. And certain expenses may be reclassified as contractual services. So some of those legal fee dollars you see may be reclassified as contractual services. Regardless, McBrayer, we got a couple of bids, if you will, and McBrayer was the least expensive. Significant legal review was required for the property known as Williamstown Development, which is subject to a TIF and an $800,000 revenue bond obligation by the city. This took quite a bit of investigation, legal work, just to get our arms wrapped around what this TIF actually meant to the city, what our obligations were, what the responsibilities were, and it took time. And the ARC TIF, the same thing, although probably not as costly as the Williamstown Development did. However, this review and subsequent agreement with the Williamstown developers enabled the city to receive $250,000 from Williamstown Development, which is now held in escrow at McBrayer Law Firm to offset future bond payments. This includes addressing approximately $62,000 previously paid by the city when TIF revenues fell short. So at some point in the past 9 months, the revenues that we collect through the TIF of Williamstown Development fell short of the payment that we pay to the bond company, which I believe is $5,400 a month. And up until recently, the city, out of its own pocket, had put in $62,000. With the $250,000 escrow account, we are able to recoup that $62,000 and offset any future shortages with the 250. So, you can say that was money well spent. A separate legal review related to the Arkin County TIF area is also ongoing as the city continues to clarify responsibilities. While some responsibilities may not be fully met on either side, the spirit of the agreement is being honored. So I don't want anyone to think that there's any issue with the ARC. There is not. But there are certain things that we need to cross T's and dot I's. Now I'll get into the individual departments. Tax revenues, this is from the city clerk treasurer. Tax revenues are being collected steadily and are expected to exceed budgeted projections. Conservative estimates were adopted during budget approval process due to uncertainty at the time. Overall revenues are outperforming prior years and departmental expenditures are largely under budget. We will be installing new up-to-date software this month at the clerk's office that should make it easier for the city to process material for our residents as well as easier for the end user. Street department. The street department expenses are under budget with several projects completed, including the sign on 36 and 25, along with the much-needed city building's front door entrance repair, along with the flooring. So right out in the entrance, out front there, we took that whole door off, we rebuilt the frames, tiles. At one point, you could see through that door, whether it was summer or winter. So you had cold air coming in the winter, hot in the summer. Capital purchases that have come in under budget are the pickup truck, plow, and V-Box. Those capital items that this council budgeted for have been procured and they were all under budget. The Gator, which has not been purchased yet but has been identified, it will also come in significantly under budget. Water department. Water revenues remain strong and continue to exceed budget expectations. Capital projects include the awarded carbon filter project and ongoing lagoon cleaning. So the carbon filter, this council approved that bid a couple months ago, has not been done yet, but it's about to be. And the lagoon cleaning, we're about to pull the trigger on that. That has to go out to bid. As you probably are aware, because I'm sure you all got phone calls, a recent boil water advisory affected Williamstown, Corinth, Dry Ridge, and Bullock Pen. There was never any public health risk. The advisory was issued at the direction of the state due to elevated turbidity caused by manganese. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know the exact details on this, but I do know that turbidity is the cloudiness of the water. And it was caused by the manganese when it hit a certain chemical at the plant. When it turned cloudy, it registered at the state, and the state said, water boil, which we, of course, we did. But there was never any risk associated with it. In addition, last spring, there was a pretty large water main pipe break down Route 36. And we temporarily fixed it at the time. We needed to get engineer involved, state approval to repair that and repair it in a way so it would not happen again. Instead of just repairing the pipe, we are moving the pipe to a higher ground. All those permits have been received. The material is in, and this project should be completed in the next 20 or 30 days. Wastewater Department revenues and expenditures remain on track. New dump truck has been ordered, and we should have delivery in the spring. That was on budget. Quarterly compliance reporting due to past violations to the state continues. We, as you know, about a year ago, was assessed a violations in the wastewater department. The city paid a fine, and we now have to do quarterly reports for a year or so, which we are doing. Police Department, one new police cruiser has been purchased. We had budgeted 2 police cruisers. We have put the second cruiser on hold, pending our staffing levels. We lost a officer, as you know, so at this point, there's no need to purchase that second cruiser. So for now, it's on hold, and we are actively looking to fill the officer. Correct, Chief? Firearms and ammunition that were in the capital budget have been purchased. They've been practiced. They've been certified on them. The new security cameras are up throughout the city. These cameras can pick out a license plate for detection, and they're very up-to-date technology-wise. The only place they are not in place as of right now is Webb Park. As you know, that's going under renovation and construction, so we have not put them there yet. And we also have new locks coming for all the outside doors. They should be up in a couple weeks, Chief. Again, very high and new technology for the locks, for safety, for the people in this building and for the residents. Fire Department, in your packet tonight, you will see there are new standard operating procedures and departmental guidelines. They will be, they have already been implemented. And then delivery of the new fire truck is expected between now and March.
Yeah, I was there today. It's probably be here by February. They only got a little bit left to do.
From your lips to God's ears.
Yes. They don't strike me down.
Yeah. Cable Department, cable revenues and expenses remain on schedule with the approved budget. Some of you may notice there was, I think there's a couple of line items that are over. Have been some one-time and bulk purchases made early in this year, resulting in some cases over the line, but over the year, the variance, they are expected to normalize. Electric Department, electric revenues and expenses reflect a healthy profit margin year-to-date. The associated grant that going along with the project that we're doing throughout part of the town is ongoing. It started. The team is doing great on it. No issues at this point. And their big capital item was the post digger truck, which we're hoping to award the bid tonight. As I look ahead and as we move forward, the city will continue to focus on the following key priorities. The mitigation of the zebra mussels at the water treatment plant, evaluation of the KIA loan or financing options, loan versus grant opportunities is still at the top of the list, and we're still going through that. It's a very lengthy process. Of course, the grant is what we're looking for, and with any luck, we will get that. The completion of Web Park Phase 1, we have the drawings from the engineer of what Web Park will look like when it's complete. It's broken down into 3 phases. As you know, we have about $200,000 budgeted this fiscal budget to make the Phase 1 renovations. I am hoping to go out to bid for that very early February to be completed before June. Phase 1. Leasing and long-term planning for the city buildings, specifically in this case, the NKU building. If the NKU is out of there by 28th, which they will be, we need to decide what we're doing with that. Again, leasing it to me is the way to go, but how that all entails out, we're working on as we speak. Addressing lake-related enforcement, safety, and infrastructure needs. Last spring when I took over as mayor and through the summer, the majority of my phone calls, believe it or not, and I had many, were basically lake-related one way or the other. Zoning, lake safety, boating, zebra mussels. So I've made it an effort and a priority to try to get my arms around that situation before we go into another season. And that includes updating policies, protocols for effective lake patrol, continued public engagement regarding safety rules out there. We want to have a safety police, if you will, presence out there. We want to make sure the lake property owners, as well as those who visit the lake, understand safety rules and abide by them. So that's a priority going into it. That we'll need some ordinances changed, I believe, to effectively do that. So those are the things that we're working on right now. Continue public engagement, including a late February or early March business leaders meeting and a follow-up town hall. So as you know, we had a business leaders meeting in September. We had a town hall meeting beginning of December, I believe it was. We have made some progress on both those meetings as far as calls to action. We will be having follow-up meetings to address that and going forward. Advancement of ADA sidewalk project. This has been going on, I think, Rick, when you were mayor. And it's something that's still out there. We've been in contact with the state, Jackie Jones. The grant is still available to us. And it's something that's really needed infrastructure-wise, specifically that walking bridge on Helton Road, which is becoming a safety concern. So that's a priority. We'll be going on in first of the year. We still have ongoing investigations requiring continued coordination and oversight. Hopefully we'll be putting those to bed sooner rather than later. Continued review and management of existing TIF districts, and then support for responsible residential and commercial development opportunities, which, it could have been number one, and these were set in no particular priority order. But those are the priorities going for I believe, for myself and this council and this city. As we go into 2026, I think I've given you a decent rundown of where the city is at in the areas. Any questions, concerns, thoughts, Bob?
For you or for our police chief, on the cameras, if they pick up a stolen car, does that go to the state police, or where does that, who's notified on that?
Well, I think it, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, it just allows us the ability to see that, correct?
The camera that we currently have is not up yet, it'll go at Barnes Road. It'll detect license plates, but that camera doesn't have the NCIC software to be able to link directly with NCIC. We can put it into our system, so if we know anything that's stolen around the area, we can put it in there and it'll automatically pull where that vehicle came from or when it went past it. They do have new cameras that are NCIC capable, where if anything goes through it that's stolen, it'll automatically alert everybody. We just haven't purchased those yet.
Questions, anything else, concerns, comments? Wow, okay. That's my update. Superintendent's monthly reports, you all received in your packets. Questions, concerns, comments on those?
I really like Derek's monthly vehicle report, and I know all the other superintendents like to do it their own way. But this, to me, is what we were looking for, I was looking for, so when we get into the budget cycle, we can have that for each department, so we know not only how many miles it's got on it, but how much it's using a month, and I think that's really important. I mean, some of these have some high mileage, but, or older, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
without high mileage, but, you know, I think that'll be a good thing, and I'd love to see the other departments go on to something like that report.
I will, and I have spoken to them already on that. I think in their own way, they're trying to get that out there, but I will, if we can use Derek as a template, if you like, Rick?
I think it's the best one that I
Okay.
see. Because it tells us not only what it's used for,
Yeah.
you know, starting mileage, ending mileage, so we can, you know, sit down and figure out, you know, well, it's not driven much, but, you know, maybe it's,
What's it?
you know, specific uses. The sweeper is a 2011, but it doesn't have 28,000 miles on it, so it's not like, you know, if the street department says we need to get rid of the sweeper because it's 14 years old, we can say, well, but it's not used that much, you know, so more about service hours sometimes.
Yep, okay.
There was only one correction that I found on the zoning, report. The two zoning permits that was given on 12/18 and 12/19, he's just got the date as 2015, it should be 2025,
Got it.
so.
On his report too, I was really surprised just to stay that short-term rentals, now we've only got 94 active properties with 30 inactive properties, you know. So what we thought, you know, would take care of itself possibly seems like it must be, so. I think 94 is much more manageable than
Yeah.
up close to 150 that we had at one time. So.
Yeah, and I also believe, you know, the enforcement of the annual permit fees just was, enabled us to get a better record of what is out there. Which I believe has brought in over $14,000 that was not budgeted for. Any other questions, comments, concerns from the council? Hearing none, we'll move forward. Old business, correction and approval of minutes for regular council meeting December 1st, 2025. And I'm open to hear a,
Mayor, it looks like a great preparation. I didn't see any changes needed, and I'd like to make a motion to approve as presented.
motion made by Counselor Skinner. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
By Counselor Perry.
Not much in that 6 minutes.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Kim Cropper,
Yes.
April Isabella,
Yes.
Ronnie Maines.
Yes.
Bob Perry,
Yes.
Rick Skinner,
Yes.
Jenna Smith. Yes.
Okay, motion passes, thank you. Okay, so. Everybody about a month ago was given a copy of the proposed policy, personnel policies and procedures with red lines for additions and double red lines for subtractions. And then in your latest packet, you were given a copy of as it's proposed to go forward. And we will need a municipal order repealing the personnel policies and procedures, compensation plan, and reclassification plan adopted on May 7, 2007, and adopting a new City of Williamstown employee policies and procedure manual. And before I ask Mr. Morgan to read, I just want to say this was a huge undertaking, and I think it was bigger than what any of us thought it was going to be. You know, we had to go through line by line on each policy. We upgraded pay grades to fit 2026, if you will, and future. We redid job descriptions, we redid job classifications. We did a lot of changes, legal changes in the policies and procedures themselves to make them applicable to, you know, now as compared to 30, 40 years ago. So everybody, every superintendent had a participation piece in this. Luke and his law firm had a participation in it, and certainly we've gone through it. I'm sure you all went through it. We would like to get this passed if possible, unless there's anybody who has otherwise thinking. Luke?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is municipal order number 2026-01. It's a municipal order of the City of Williamstown, Kentucky, repealing the personnel policies and procedures, compensation plan, and reclassification plan of the City of Williamstown, which was adopted May 7, 2007 by municipal order 2007-02, and all amendments thereto and there. Furthermore, adopting a new City of Williamstown employee procedures, policies and procedures manual. Section 1 of this municipal order says, the Williamstown City Council hereby repeals the current personnel policies and procedures, compensation plan, and reclassification plan of the City of Williamstown, adopted on May 7, 2007 by municipal order 2007-02, and all amendments to the same are repealed. The Williamstown City Council hereby adopts and establishes a new City of Williamstown employee policies and procedures manual incorporated herein by reference. And that is this 230-page, two-sided, single-spaced document. Section 2, the provision of this municipal order are severable, and the invalidity of any provision of this municipal order shall not affect the validity of any other provision thereof, and such other provisions shall remain in full force and effect as long as they remain valid in the absence of those provisions determined to be invalid. Section 3 says all municipal orders or parts of municipal orders in conflict with the provisions of this municipal order are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 4 says that a municipal order shall be effective as soon as possible according to law. This has been read, moved, and approved by the City Council of the City of Williamstown, and for today's date, the 5th of January, 2026.
Okay.
Had you planned on reading this entire thing for the record?
If you want me to, Councilman Crumpler,
just
I
had to
suggest you
ask.
get some dinner. We'll be here a while.
I did give him that option.
Did you really?
I will say how much work went into that when you read it, or the previous one we got with the red line. More power to you guys.
It was
A lot of work there.
It was a lot of work, but
Yeah.
I tell you, the team came together and it got done. All that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept municipal order number 2021-01.
And to repeal the 2007? I think you need both, right?
2026-01.
Repeal municipal order 2026, no. Doesn't he have to repeal the 2007?
Well, the municipal order
Repeals that.
2026-01 does.
Got it. Motion made by Councilman Skinner. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilor Maines. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Kim Cropper,
Yes.
April Fabella,
Yes.
Ronnie Maines,
Yes.
Bob Perry,
Yes.
Rick Skinner,
Yes.
Jenna Smith.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. We have a new policy and procedure meeting. Thank you so much. Okay, still under new business. So, a few months ago, I was at the Northern Kentucky ad in Florence. I think it was regarding, I think it was a municipal government league meeting. Can't remember for sure. And I believe Mark Snyder was there. Steve, you were not, correct? And he was a guest speaker, and he talked about investments and city investments and how the state of Kentucky, coalesced together and is able to make these investments regarding stocks and bonds and whatever that is, and make money for the local cities, municipalities. And I thought, Mr. Crupper, you had brought that up about a year ago, wondering why we are not investing some of our money into money markets and things like that, so,
In our local bank.
in our local banks.
Yes.
But I thought this goes a little step further and allows us to have a whole program, and it's thoroughly endorsed by the state and Kentucky League of Cities. So I invited Steve Pekarski, and you'll have to tell them your title and all that, Steve, to give us a presentation and so we can talk about investment policy.
Is there anything in particular I need to do with it?
Right now,
While that's warming up, I'll give you the details of the title. My name's Stephen Pekarski with the Kentucky League of Cities. My role within the league is considered financial services manager. I more commonly just say my role within the totality of financial services is to put it into plain English so that every single one of our cities understands what the power they have and how they can act upon that power for the betterment of their individual communities. Mark Snyder, who is with PNC Institutional Asset Management, would have come with us today, but he had a conflict that arose, so he sends his apologies. So you're stuck with me, so it's either a good or a bad thing. But I'll try to hammer through this presentation to hit three main things: what the Kentucky League of Cities investment pool is, how we seek to achieve our goals, and why it's important for you all as the elected officials of the city of Williamstown. Traditionally, cities have always looked at two avenues: depository transactions or certificates of deposits. Those have always been the plain Jane, the most conservative, the most commonly accepted approach to financial management of our cities. You all are doing the hard part, day in and day out. You're balancing your budget, you're ensuring that you're not over leveraging yourself, or you're preparing the city of Williamstown for a better future tomorrow. Now it's about how best can we deploy that strong foundation for an increased opportunity into the future. CDs have always been there. $1 in a bank is $1 tomorrow, but there's an elephant in the room that we need to address, and we saw it during the throes of COVID. inflation is real, and when inflation comes into a bank account, we start talking about loss of purchasing power. Purchasing power for visualization here is to say, as goods rise and your valuation stays flat or does not match up to the cost of inflation, your $1 today is not equal to $1 in the future. A $10 McDonald's meal is not going to be $10 down 20 years from now. Those dollars we need to, if we're not deploying them today, we need to give them a job such that they're not just gathering dust in a corner somewhere. Every single one of your dollars as a city needs to have a purpose and some sort of directive. And that's what the Kentucky League of Cities Investment Pool was hoping to obtain. In 2019, when the legislature made the expansion to say, if we can't continue to put taxation as the way for revenue opportunities, what are the other avenues that we can deploy that aren't going to be overly risk, it's not going to incur a significant risk exposure, but it won't sit there and hinder you in terms of you're not going to have to become investment professionals overnight, along with everything else that you've now accrued as becoming elected officials. It's the proverbial, you're all the dog that caught the bumper, and we're all just still trying to figure out what we're doing as we go forward. Again, this is nothing that is out there that is out of the scope of law. KRS 66.480 is the Bible when it comes to financial management. And that financial management goes from depository relationships all the way through investments. So no matter if you're just putting money to the bank, 66480 requires, that is your guide map forward. This gives you the fiduciary power as elected officials to make these decisions and go forth with them. The allowable investments within the KRS 66480, obviously we were talking U.S. obligations, high quality corporate bonds, commercial paper, the shares of individual mutual funds, ETFs, and then individual securities and certificates of deposit. Within our ecosystem of the KLC investment pool, we only play with money market funds, a fund that we've created called the Enhanced Income Fund, which is our proxy for a certificate of deposit without the requirement for Crystal to go out there every 2 years when these become mature to resolicit to say which bank has the best prevailing rate. This automates that approach to say you will always capture what's the current market, and those monies will be working for you 24/7, 365 days a year. And then we've got the Enhanced Income Fund, that we get into the Government Bond Fund, which is just bond. It's a basket of U.S. government securities. There's nothing really sexy sizzle about anything within our ecosystem. It's very plain Jane vanilla, but it's something that can be strategic, and more importantly, it can be repeated over time and over evolutions within the elected body itself. So this is not going to be something where it's a wholesale change every time we have an election cycle. This can be set forth and always be working for the city of Williamstown. I do want to obviously address that this is not KLC acting alone. We solicited an RFP to determine who is going to be the best financial partner for our cities, and PNC Institutional Asset Management came in head and shoulders above the competition to deliver what KLC values. We are a mission-based organization, and PNC is delivering that to say they understand that when their communities are strong, their bank relationships are also strong. So they have a vested interest to ensure that whatever we're deploying on behalf of cities is in the collective good. A rising tide lifts all boats in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So the big thing is, okay, what is this program going to do when it determines for your fiduciary duties? I'm not going to read every single one of here, but there's 3 things I really want to hammer home. The top left corner, compliance is built in. We as KLC, we can't have a false step. If we have a screw up, the political damage of that is going to be such that we may never recover. So I want you to know that no matter what you do, if it was within the KLC investment pool, compliance is the first step, the second step, and the third step. On the right-hand side, we talk about daily liquidity. The three-legged stool for cities when it comes to investment management is safety, liquidity, and then yield. This is providing you the safety of, it's already compliant. It's providing you the daily access. This is no longer a situation of where your banking relationship may say, yes, we will hold your money, and if you need it, you're going to break glass and forego interest. This is going to be the JG Wentworth. It's your money. If you need it now, just call KLC or call PNC, and we'll have that daily liquidity made available to you without penalty or without foregoing the interest. We post interest on a monthly basis. You have access to every single investment account on that monthly basis through the online portal. So clear transparency, clear ownership of your funds. And then obviously the other big question is, we're not doing this out of the goodness of our heart. So what is the cost related to the cities? We operate under an asset under management approach. There is no additional account minimum. There is no transactional cost. There is no penalty to say if you have 50 accounts, you can open as many accounts as you want. It all is based off of the structure of the investments and the amount of investments in there. So within there are 2 branches that we'll see later, but there's a 25 basis point fee or a 35 basis point fee. 25 basis point fee covers the money market fund and the enhanced income fund. Basis point seems like some sort of made up term. What does that mean in real dollars? If you put $100,000 into the investment pool, the annual collective amount of fee within a money market fund or the enhanced income fund is $250. Where is that $250 coming from? The city's not cutting a check and sending it to PNC that we can split between PNC and KLC. That's going to come off the yield. So if your account for that, again, easy numbers because it's public math, if we put $100,000 in there and if the total yield was 5% for that year, what that would mean is your account would go up to $4,750. And that $250 is reduced from the gain, much like an expense ratio on an ETF or a mutual fund. So this is not, it's not a transactional component related to that. This is built into the background. This is the best visualization of what is the KLC investment pool. Going from the far left of your screen to the far right is the risk versus return. The least amount of risk and the lowest amount of return currently is the money market fund account. Those were fun moments when we were yielding 5% for essentially a checking account on steroids. As the Federal Open Market Committee says, we need to reduce the federal target rate. You will see in lockstep an immediate reduction of the money market yield. The enhanced income fund is that approximation of a certificate of deposit. So there's a greater opportunity for bigger yields because positions are on a longer term schedule. But this is not going to be exponential growth. We're not talking the 10s, the 20% that you would see in the S&P 500, but you're not going to have the roller coaster ride of volatility attached to it. And as you move further to the right, when we start with the government bond fund and work up, those are true long-term positions that we would sell to a true 3+ year relationship. As you can see within this schedule, there are 3 kind of pillars. There's strategic cash or reserve cash, strategic cash, and then there's long-term reserve funds. So if we've had a CD within CD or a depository relationship with the city of Williamstown, I would be willing to bet a good amount of money that money has been there for decades and has probably been on ice for decades too. And I would imagine with how your all's audits have been previously that there's not a whole lot of dire need for access to reserve funds. Now we're really talking about how best do we deploy those. So we've gone through what it is, how we do things. Now the big question is, why would you all do that? This is just a table that talks about in detail of what the funds are. I don't know if that's value add to the current presentation, but this chart here shows what has been done. This is the proof of the pudding. So this is just the visualization of the net asset value. So as we've had since inception from 2009 through November of 2025, the S&P 500, if you look from start to end, it looks like a rocket ship, but we cannot discount the volatility in between. We've gone through COVID, we've gone through the undulation related to Liberation Day and everything in between. But on a longer term schedule, we start to see that investing is kind of like a yo-yo, but we're walking up a mountain. Yes, that yo-yo goes up and down, but inevitably we're continue to hopefully press towards the summit of our destination. It's hard to see the coloration, but underneath you see a green line. That is the Enhanced Income Fund. I always say, I don't know if it's a good joke or a bad joke, but if that were a patient at a hospital, we would call that patient dead. There's no volatility attached to it. Its job is to provide you yield. So there is not a significant appreciation in pricing. That is an asset that is, its benefit is kicking off monthly yield and then repositioning that over and over and over. So now your quote unquote CD, as it earns money, it's reinvesting money automatically such that your basis is growing over time. So your snowball is turning into an avalanche of opportunity when it comes to the Enhanced Income Fund. But again, I'm not Bernie Madoff and I'm not guaranteeing you anything. The only thing I can guarantee when it comes to investing, markets will go up, markets will go down. The only thing that you need to understand is what's your time horizon and what is the purpose behind this money. Those are the two foundational components of any strong investment policy. We need to know why you're doing and how long you want to have exposure so that we can then match up what is a good portfolio allocation for you all such that we're not exposing you all to undue risk. Now, if you have great vision and you can see these numbers, I can't even see those numbers. I'm glad there's a number in front of me. This is the true numerical presentation of that chart. A lot of people immediately, their eyes are drawn to the dividend focused fund and the S&P 500. When you're talking inception to date overall returns of north of 10%, those are attractive numbers when it comes to what that could have done for now 6+ years for cities. But again, back to that prior chart, there's the ups and downs. The Enhanced Income Fund, when we look at what is that doing materially different than the money market fund account, on a 1-year basis, we're now starting to see as rates normalize and we're starting to come from a elevated position on the federal funds target rate. The 1-year return was 4.69% on the Enhanced Income Fund compared to a money market fund. And every single one of our positions are exceeding their benchmarks that which we're measuring ourselves against success. So this has been a fruitful opportunity, and it's really now about saying this is a tool within your all's toolbox. It's up to you all to determine, is this a proper tool for the job that's presented in front of you all? Again, it's the most important thing that I always like to end with. We don't like to use the word autopilot, but this is giving the money a job, pulling it off Crystal's shoulders and everyone else within City Hall to say, let them focus on other items that are more pertinent and valuable to the day in and day out operations. While this money, is constantly working, and you've got a trusted partner with KLC and PNC that are not going to do anything that's going to be improper, nor can we do anything without your all's directive action. We are not making trades without the expressed directive from whomever is identified as the authorized individuals. We're not trading willy-nilly unless you all direct us to do so. So this is really your program. We're just acting on behalf through your all's guidance. I'll pause there because I know it's an awful lot of information. I love this stuff, and I can go into a lot of weeds, but I know this is a public meeting. So.
Steve, why don't you tell us about how many cities are involved in this? What kind of money's invested in it already? And some of the success stories. So as of today, we're north of probably 50 municipalities managing over $75 million. We even had a larger position when ARPA was kind of still hanging around, when all these cities had an abundance of money drop into their lap and federal government had yet to decide what was the appropriate way to allocate those monies and spend those monies and then report on those monies. We were the segregated accounting position for a lot of cities to dump the money in, get 5% off of it, not have to rebate that money back to the federal government, and determine how best you want to do that. So, but as of today, 50+ cities, 75 million, just within, that'd be a heck of a football throw from here, but I think one of the nearest cities to you all is Crittenden, and then maybe Paris if the shoulder's still operating today. But those are your neighboring cities that say, okay, you heard it from the horse's mouth here from the actual people that are interacting with the program day in and day out. Questions?
How much money are we looking at to invest? Do you have a figure right now, Mayor?
We don't have a figure. We do, Crystal and I have discussed it. I mean, there are some accounts, depreciation fund accounts that we do not use for city financial business, if you will, that's there for infrastructure and
Okay.
for things like that we thought we would start with, certainly to get our ground, get, you know, the feet on the ground. So nothing that would come out of the
Okay.
regular operating budget of the city.
He's got one here for you.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Nobody's doing this free.
Mhm.
Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
One thing I am a little bit concerned about with this, I want to call it the contract for KLC. I would at least thought there would have been a sheet that would break down all the hidden costs. Because this is not a hobby,
Yeah.
you're not practicing doing this.
Correct.
But it's a little disappointment that there's gonna be hidden cost here somewhere that we're not seeing in this paperwork.
Okay.
Now, and I'm just saying this in an easy way, that we can go to our local bank, the mayor can call the manager and say, hey, I wanna take 100,000 is the number you used, and I wanna put it in a CD, and come down, I'll have the paperwork ready in 15 minutes, and there's no fees, it's just whatever the interest rate is, and you agree on how many months you want to invest this in. So with that said, there's gonna be fees, and I would like to know those fees. Now, it also says in here that there's a board of directors that oversees these investments. Board of directors, are they getting paid an annual salary to do this? And all the participants have to pay to have this done? Is that fair to say?
That's a fair question. Would you like me to answer them, or?
Yes,
Okay.
or
So-
I'll finish and you can answer one at a time, I don't care.
Yeah, the first question, I mean, again, I'll go back to,
Yeah, I know you said 250 and 350 initially on 100,000.
yeah, so the institutional fees, the only fees levied on this program, full stop, are the assets under management fee. There is no additional fee for account setup, account maintenance, transaction. It is only whatever's invested is whatever's levied. That is the extent of how we are collecting monies. This is not something that KLC is doing to make huge revenues off of. This is KLC saying we need to implore our cities to do something different, to do something more with their monies. But we are also, to your second point about the local banking partners, we are not a bank. We are not seeking to replace banks. Your banks are your most vital local partners, lenders of last resort. They should still have a position within your all's overall portfolio. But it's now about diversification of your all's assets to the extent that is reasonable and prudent. If you can get 5% from a local bank or anywhere thereabouts, by all means, go do that. I also tell every city, use me as a come to Jesus conversation with your local bank. If you're not getting 4% or somewhere thereabouts, or have not been getting 4 or 5% for the past 5 years, where's your partner been? What has your money done since then? And why weren't they coming and presenting these to you? And then the second point, the board of directors. Board of directors are other mayors, other financial directors, non-compensated individuals. They are here to be an oversight board to ensure that the positions that we create or the opportunities that we are providing meet your all's needs and expectations on the ground. When we first started this fund, we had 4 total positions. We did not have a dividend-focused fund. We did not have the enhanced income fund. We heard from our board of directors that we need more income-generating assets that have long-term exposure. That's where the dividend-focused fund came from. The enhanced income fund came from every time we meet with a city clerk that was also operating as finance director and ABC coordinator was help get something off my plate such that I can focus on really what's my job is day in and day out. But there's no compensation that cities or participants thereof would be providing for them. These are all out of the goodness of their heart that want to meet together and say, let's make sure that whatever KLC is doing benefits the broad swath of us. I don't know if there's any additional questions, Councilman. Great questions, by the way. I love them. So.
Okay, and you seem to enjoy your job, and I appreciate and respect that. There's one sentence in part of this here, that the directors may retain from the gross income of the fund, which by and large is the entire fund. I get that. But it may seem necessary to pay some debts and expenses and other obligations of the fund. So that sounds like a guessing game, that if things go a little bit more expensive than they need, then they have the right to draw that out of the pool, is the way I would see that. That's fair to say, is that right?
I would say based off the language that would provide the opportunity, but currently the only present expenses, and currently it's a measure in time, it's our annual audit that is required by any external investment pool, and that's where the vast majority of all revenues related to this program, especially those that are coming to KLC, are going towards. The partnership agreement, that 25 basis point and that 35 basis point fee is split equally between PNC and KLC, such that PNC can provide these offerings, execute the trades, maintain the software, and then the KLC side of it is cover our required minimum thresholds that are dictated by statute, ensure the viability of the program, and excess funds are committed back to our other services that KLC provides on behalf of members.
So, from what you've said here on it, you said it was an annual basis we're using that $100,000 limit, as you said there. So annually, you're paying $250 on every $100,000 your investment. And if it's, I think I heard this correct, if you have a money market fund, it's $350. Is that right?
So if we look at, well, left this chart up luckily, the money market fund and the enhanced income fund both have 25 basis points, so 1/4%.
Okay.
Everything above, based off the complexity of the underlying securities, has a 35 basis points. So
Okay.
0.0035% is the levied percentage, and that is the annual percentage, which would be measured on a monthly basis. So you're saying 0.35 or 0.002 divided by 12, and then that's applied based off what's the monthly holdings, such that each monthly when we post income, we are reducing based off the expense ratio associated with that. Similar, again, to what an ETF or mutual fund would enact on the back end of your investment positions.
Okay, so your pool, in other words, a pool of funds for the cities, is you're using 6 different tiers there to do this work. Is that what
6
I'm
different
hearing?
funds is kind of, it's a choose your adventure. There's no set template to say, if you to become a participant, you now have to do X, Y, and Z. You can choose from any or all, none or all, any or all of the investment positions that are best be deployed for y'all's individual outcomes. We've had conversation with the mayor to say, if you want to seek and say, well, okay, we have a depreciation fund requirement currently based off the statute of some of our loan covenants, we can put in a depreciation fund. We can also create a maintenance fund, and those individual funds can have their individual portfolio allocation for whatever their specific purposes would be.
So it's like,
It would be nice if you could come up with that expense report.
Mm-hmm.
One thing it would be nice too is a past history, if you will. So if you've used $100,000 there. If you'd have used the past history of this past year of 2025 to show us what the rate of return would have been versus your cost, I would like to see something like that.
Yeah, when we are presenting these yields here, these are
Okay, so you
net
got
fee.
your 1 month, 3 and year to date,
So your 1 year returns, which you're starting to reference, so you're looking at the money market fund account yielded 4.32 profit to cities on a 1 year basis, 4.69% on the enhanced income fund, 5.9% on the government bond fund, and so on and so on. So those are your looks back. We kind of hesitate to do that because that's almost getting to that guarantee of results. That's that weird kind of line we have to tiptoe on.
yes, I understand that to tiptoe because your rate your rate changes as that column goes down. I see that.
Mayor,
Yes.
did I hear you correctly earlier when you said if we hadn't been, we should be getting at least 4% from our money in the banks now?
Be
Or
about 4.22
along that
right
line?
now.
Yeah, that's kind of been where you're now, I think the federal funds target rate is, I haven't kept up with them because it's one, I think it's 3.5 or 3.75%, but it's been as high as almost 5.5%. And
We
we,
had about 4.22 for about 8 months here toward the back part of the year.
and
I would like to say, without going into too much detail, our local banks have saved us past year. They have saved Williamstown,
Well,
and I give,
I will tell you
Give him
this,
credit.
Bob, when we took over, when Crystal took over as city clerk, we were getting less than 1% money on our, and we have millions of dollars at less than 1% from our local bank.
That was in a standard checking account.
We have several,
Correct all your checking accounts.
yes.
I'm aware of that.
Currently, we're getting, and we brought it to the bank's attention, and we are currently getting 2.75.
well, I wasn't referring to that, I was referring to some other things where they saved us,
The,
which I'll not go into.
I'm sorry, Bob.
So as I look at this, and is there risk? There's risk in anything that we do, okay? But as I look into the future and I see, one, our sewer lines, our water lines, I mean, any resident here knows that we've had more water breaks in the past 6 months than we've had in quite a while. That's because our whole infrastructure is aging.
That's correct.
Fire trucks, Chief is already talking about a new fire truck. We even got the fire truck we ordered 3 years ago. So we have expenses coming, we have capital and infrastructure expenses coming, and we have an opportunity to be able to invest money, put it aside, wait 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, and then be able to have it without, an undue hardship on the taxpayers of the city, and be able to afford what the city needs to continue on into the future. I have spent the last 6 months trying to get the city to 2020s, and it's been difficult. And my job is to look forward, and as I look forward, I'm asking myself, where are we gonna get the revenues that we need to sustain and move this city forward? Now, Kim, I hear some of your concerns, and I don't disagree with any of them, but the other thing about this is, we don't have to invest anything, or we can pull our money out at any time. There's no penalties, there's no contract that says you have to keep your money there. So, if things are not the way they appear, we can take it out. But to me, some of these investments are very low risk, and we'll still be making more than what we currently are. And so I think the fiduciary thing to do is to at least take a look at that. And we can start out small, we can start out very carefully, but I think we have to tip our toes into the water here and think forward.
I've kind of listened up. I was on that committee, and the market committee and for the investment pool for KLC. So I sat on that since 2018, when we petitioned the state, to give us more interest, give us more things that we could make money on instead of CDs and money markets. So I was on the board of directors. And I represent the small cities, and that's where a lot of those suggestions were coming from. But we would spend a day with PNC advisors every quarter working on what investments, we needed. Now, I believe in KLC because they're there only to support us. They're not there to make money on this one. They make money on their insurance programs. That's their bread and butter. That's where they make their money. This is another way that KLC saw that they could get into those 50 cities, there could be 3 or 4 or 5 of those that they never had any insurance with or anything else. So they saw that as another way of offering something to a different city. But I think, yeah, our local banks will probably sharpen the pencil and that would be okay. But I think day in and day out, we're gonna make more money, you know, going with Kentucky League of Cities on this one.
Rick, when you was on there, you didn't bring that to us when we were here.
No, we didn't have any money.
Okay.
The only thing I saw that we had was cemetery, you know, in that fund that we can't hardly touch.
Right.
But now with the electric depreciation so much, you know, there is something, but we didn't have that money to invest, even though I wanted to say, look, we believe in it, but we didn't have the money.
Last year, or year before now, since we're in a new year, when we expressed our concern to our former impeached mayor, why he didn't put money in our local bank in a CD. We never got a clear answer to that, but from that point to now, we still don't have a CD. Your monies are all in checking accounts. Yes, it was good that you have now got them in what is considered interest-bearing checking accounts. Why wasn't we putting money in that here 6 months ago?
Well, two things. Yes, we are now getting 2.75 compared to nothing,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
So that's 2.75 more than we were getting, and we've been trying to get our books in order,
Okay,
Ken.
that's fine.
And I think until just recently, we have all the accounts squared away, where we can even make this decision. If you asked me 2 months ago, I couldn't have done it because we still had money, we didn't know where it went.
Yeah. Well, I know when Mr. McComas, our electric superintendent, was here, and, you know, he had expressed he had $500,000-600,000.
He has a lot more than that now.
But the point is, we knew that money was there. It was simply invest that for 6 or 7 months.
Well,
That's my question.
It's a good question, but I don't like to do things half backward, okay? I wanted to have a program, a process, a plan, and this is it. So I went to this meeting, I think it was October maybe. So, and we've met a couple times. So before I brought it to the council, I wanted to make sure I understood it and I felt confident about it and that it was the right thing to do. Crystal and I have had many conversations over it. It wasn't something that we just thought of last week and thought we'd bring it to the council. We have discussed this and gone through it. And I think it's it's our plan, it's our procedure going forward. So I believe it's the right thing to do. I think Crystal agrees with me, and that's why we're here.
So if you take this money, I know if you was to withdraw from your local bank premature before the CD matures, there's a penalty. So you're saying if the mayor takes $500,000 and invests it with this pool, and he needs the money 45 days later, there's no questions, there's no penalties, there's no sorry about your luck or anything of that nature.
The only thing that could stop us is say if you call me on a Friday at 2:45 p.m. and say I need the money today, I can't get it to you till Monday because the wire transfer window's cut off.
Well,
But it is
an extreme, yeah.
But to your point, if you need money, there's nothing that's going to stop you from having access to it. There's nothing that's going to penalize you for wanting to have access to it. We will just sell you out of the position and make those proceeds immediately available to you all upon closing or upon clearing whenever we can get those monies to you.
Typically within one business day.
Yep.
And worst comes to worst, that would have to be an extreme emergency where we'd have to have money, like in that case.
So if you was to take, you all study this considerably more than we have. If you take your funds and use the history of what has been presented here tonight, Stephen, and compared it to buying a CD, your rate of return is far better, is what you're saying.
Correct. at this point.
Yes, you don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring in the stock market. And you're higher, with that said, and with your all's investments of those 6 different tiers you showed in that presentation, I guess the most aggressive ones, they get monitored closer, or is it just something you put in there and ride it out for a period of time?
So when, there are some restrictions when it comes to the overall investment allocation a city can incur. That's within 66.480 to say, again, if we use simple numbers, again, $100,000. If you were to say, what is the most risk I as a city could undertake within that investment allocation, the most we could say is you could put in $40,000 into the S&P 500 because by state statute, the maximum allowable is 40% of your total investable assets as a city municipality. Within the second point of that question is what is ongoing within time within that position? Yes, when it's similar to what you're doing with your retirement fund. When you're making an investment declaration, your investment is working and going up or down or staying flat depending upon what the market is doing until you tell it otherwise. The only way that it would stop working is by your express directive to us to say either sell, rebalance, or what have you within that position. But there's going to be nothing that will stop it until we are told otherwise. I hope that answers your question.
It somewhat does.
So-
I mean, it sounds like the Commonwealth has got some safeguards in it where you can't overextend yourself. They don't want to get themselves into the position they currently are with the retirement system.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, I mean, we don't want our cities to be essentially going, we're going to put it all on black. We're not going to put it all on red. This is not gambling. There has to be these confines, and there are additional confines and guardrails that the state legislature put in that statute. But you can quickly get lost in the weeds in a public setting. But I would recommend just reading through it. It's about the individual high quality corporate bonds, uncollateralized deposits, commercial paper, or other securities from other states or other agencies are kind of those restrictive positions that they don't want cities to invest overly in based off there could be sensitivity to market volatility. But if you said what is the most stable investment typically in time has been U.S. government treasuries. You can invest 100% of every single dollar you have access to within U.S. government treasuries or anything up to a collateralized depository account. But all of those are going to be in kind of the same premise that we started the conversation with to say, yes, safe and stable make us sleep at night, but there is still a boogeyman that's hanging out somewhere, but sometimes it's more pronounced than it is in other times. I mean, inflation was kind of, we thought, cooked for the longest time until it wasn't. And now we kind of, we're all now a little bit more sensitive to what's going on. And if you probably, as you get to doing some of your sewer projects and applying for KIA lending, the only thing that has kind of outpaced the return on the market has been the outpacing of expenditures when it comes to construction projects and the cost there associated with them. So we're just trying to make sure that whatever you all do at the end of the day, it's just, again, pushing you all forward in a better, stronger position.
I've got one more quick thing, don't know if you can answer it. Let's take the last 2 years. And everywhere that you all have invested the money, can you add that up and then divide by those investments and tell me what that average return on all of those, you understand my question? Do you have any idea?
I can't do that level of math right now, but so we have 75 million of assets under management. Our total deposits within our fund is about 51 million. So our fund, since inception, obviously there's money coming in, money going out, but it has generated almost $20 million out of thin air on behalf of all our communities.
Okay. I was just curious if you add them all together and what the percentage, we've made on, or you've made on, and then divide it by the number and what that total, average investment would be.
I can look into that.
4.5%, 5%, something, hopefully.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Any other, April, Jenna? Ronnie, anything? No. Would anybody like to make a motion to pass the resolution number 2026-01, investment policy for the city of Williamstown,
That'd be a municipal order.
municipal order.
O2.
That's okay.
Well, we have 01 on the, I'm sorry, 02, yes.
I would make that motion.
Motion made by Counselor Skinner, is there a second?
Right, it's just the.
This is just the
Policy,
investment
right.
I'll
policy.
second that.
Second by Counselor Fabella.
The investment policy you're talking about here in this municipal order, that's just kind of a blanket coverage for anything you want to do, banks or KLC or otherwise. That's fair to say, isn't it?
That's correct.
But by state statute, all cities are required, regardless of an investment or depository, to have an investment policy statement.
That's even you're working with your local
You
bank.
need to read this.
I don't need to read that. I do think we need to, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
I do think it's important to clarify that municipal order number 2026-02 is a municipal order of the city of Williamstown adopting an investment policy. That is different than the resolution number 2026-01, which is a resolution authorizing participation in the KLC investment pool. As Mr. Pekarsky just mentioned, the municipal order 2026-02 is really good practices. It's stuff from Kentucky statute and is something that the city should have. It doesn't obligate the city to enter into any kind of investment plan, whether be it with any particular investment outfit. It is just fundamental fiduciary practice. And then resolution number 2026-01 is about authorizing participation in the KLC Investment Pool Plus program. And to be clear, this is not saying that that Williamstown shall invest in that. Rather, it's just authorizing in its participation. And we can discuss the details. I don't think there needs to be any more summary, really, of either of those,
Okay.
unless you feel otherwise.
So we have a motion on the table for municipal order 2026-02, Williamstown investment policy. Is there any more further discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion on the motion, roll call, please.
Kim Crupper,
Yes.
April Fabella,
Yes.
Ronnie Maines,
Yes.
Bob Perry,
Yes.
Rick Skinner,
Yes.
and Jenna Smith.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes, thank you, we have that. Next is the resolution number 2026-01, authorizing participation in the Kentucky League of Cities Investment Pool Plus. Again, to Mr. Morgan's point, it's not shall, it's authorization may. Is there a motion?
One thing I'd like to ask of you there, Mayor,
Yeah.
there again, I had asked if we could get a list of expenses, if there's any hidden costs. You know, I have a concern with that, a hidden cost in these kind of things. Also too, if you can have that, it would be nice to know what our local banks' current CDs are doing and what their costs, if any, are. I would like to have both those columns there. It would be nice to have, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
I mean, I just have this, that, it's just something that's just right there that it concerns me. And if I had that list of costs, you know, whether it's PNC cost or KLC, you've identified KLC doesn't pass any cost through measures. I don't think they do. If they are there, then it would be nice if that sheet.
If I heard correctly, though, the cost, period, is what you stated. And there is no other hidden cost or any other cost whatsoever of any kind.
Correct. I mean, that is,
So I guess there's your answer on cost.
I could put it on, we can further show that, like, I could put it on the documentation and send it over, but it's on our summary, sorry, so I shouldn't be talking while sitting, I apologize. Our summary report does go out and say there's no account minimums, there's no account transaction fees. The only thing that is levied is that asset under management based off the nature of those 6 opportunity funds for however the cities are investing their monies. But to your point, yes, I will make sure that we make that available and send that over to you all. So.
Okay. Also, would the mayor get a monthly update from KLC PNC?
Yes, so every month you have
Once
this,
you invest?
Yeah.
the city will have an online account access and there will be
Access
individual.
at any
Yeah,
time.
and you'll get a statement that shows holdings based off market value, cost basis, the the month to date, the year to date, and on the flip side of that is going to be every monthly transaction that has occurred within that investment fund. So you have full transparency into the exact holdings and what's going on with your money within the.
With this new and fresh, if you could provide
It'll be-
monthly or quarterly?
It'll be part of the monthly clerk treasurer's report.
Okay.
Yes,
I mean, you can probably look at it every single day if you want,
you
right?
could.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can
That
we
answers
get
my
that individually? I think you said we could call or go in and get that, or it has to be done through the city.
So can you as an
As
individual
an individual,
invest or look at the,
no, look at the accounts or just the city clerk.
I believe it's be myself or the treasurer,
is
correct?
that'd be based off your all's procedures?
Oh, okay.
And if it doesn't work in 90 days or 6 months or 9
You can
months?
resolve to pull
Okay.
it. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
We have a motion authorizing participation in the Kentucky League of Cities Investment Pools, resolution number 2026-01, made by Counselor Smith. Is there a second?
I'll second resolution 2026-01.
Seconded by Counselor Cropper. Is there any further discussion? We will ensure that you'll have monthly reports.
That's good. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion, is there, roll call, please.
Do you
Kim.
need to read this thing or not?
No, sir.
I'm sorry.
Kim Cropper,
Yes.
April Fabella,
Yes.
Ronnie Mains,
Yes.
Bob Perry,
Yes.
Rick Skinner,
Yes.
Jenna Smith. Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
That's not your laptop,
Okay. Next is on the agenda is the Williamstown Volunteer Fire Department Manual. You all received that updated SOP manual in your packets. There is no need for a vote. But however, in full transparency, I want to make sure you all have a copy and were aware, and should you have any questions. Okay, moving on. City Council consideration approval of the Electric Department M2106 4x4 diesel Freightliner utility truck request for bid. Mr. McComas, where do you go?
He left,
He left.
like a long time ago.
Okay, so, I guess it's on me. So we had 3
Pretty
bids.
easy.
It is pretty easy. We had 3 bids. We are recommending custom truck, one source, $277,465. It is slightly higher than the lowest bid, but it does include a hitch, which the other bid did not, which the difference more than makes up for the additional cost. There was, I think, 3 or 4 of us there doing the bids, and it won, as you can see from your paperwork, got 100% compared to the others. That is the recommendation for that truck. Any questions, concerns? Do I need a motion for that, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Counselor Perry, is there a second?
Motion is for accepting custom
Yep.
truck?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second by Counselor Skinner to accept the bid, custom truck One Source of $277,465. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Kim Cropper,
Yes.
April Fabella,
Yes.
Ronnie Maines,
Yes.
Bob Perry,
Yes.
Rick Skinner,
Yes.
Jenna Smith.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you so much. Last item on the agenda is open forum for residents to speak on any topic they would like for 90 seconds. Now's your time.
Go to the podium.
Go to the podium, state your name. Nobody.
You just came to hear us?
In my quest for complete transparency, I never have anybody speak.
Oh, we can arrange that, maybe.
Yeah, I know, right?
Maybe, Mayor, if that's what you want.
That all being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Counselor Maines, there a second?
I'll second that.
By Counselor Fabella. Roll call.
Kim Cropper,
Yes.
April Fabella.
Yes.
Ronnie Maines.
Yes.
Bob Perry,
Yes.
Rick Skinner.
Yes.
Jenna Smith.
Yes.
We are adjourned, thank you.